Beep! You're so crispy, dude! Unlimited power, baby! Yeah! Welcome back, my fellow duplicants. Today we're going to explore this idea of whether or not a Sweepy can be used to suck up the core of your base here. Now, this idea came from the comments when we were building up this last video here, where we were using Sweepy bots to tame volcanoes. And the thought was, okay, I wonder if we can go down into the core. So I explored some different options of how we can dig down there without exposing yourself to magma. And I think it really comes down to picking the right spot and then having the right strategy to dig down into the core. And I think I've got an idea that'll actually work here. The main thing, though, that we really have going for us is the fact that magma does not like to flow up once you kind of dig down past a certain spot and put a tile there. So you can see right here, we have lots and lots of magma, but it's not flowing up this chamber over here. So that's the idea. How can we build this up and then slowly tackle the core over a given amount of time, turning that stuff into power and extracting a large amount of igneous rock down here without having to dig it up. To do this, we're going to start up a brand new map, and we're just going to go into Terra, which is our standard map, pick a couple of dupes to start with. Alright, so in this scenario here, our duplicants found the bottom of the map, and then they went down here and actually kind of explored everywhere that's just right above where they can actually see right there. So, you're able to reveal down this far. Not quite to the bottom of the map, but close. So this allows us to kind of strategically pick a place where we might want to dig down and then start to suck out all of this magma using our Sweepy. All right, so looking at this layout, I think the best spot for me to go down here and actually start to work on is going to be right here, because there's really not a lot of magma that I'm going to have to go through. And then if we can suck in enough of this magma over here, we can actually go up and over this neutronium here and then start to work on the right side. So let's go ahead and build a little outpost station right here and get to digging. All right, so when it comes to planning this thing out, I know that I'm going to be 4 wide. That way we have a ladder and we have a fire pole right next to this. So I'm going to plan from that back. I also want to make sure that we have a liquid lock here, because otherwise we're going to bring in a lot of heat here, and that could potentially heat up the liquid that we have right here that's maintaining that vacuum over time, and that would not be a good thing. All right, so that's how we're actually going to get into this area and start to do our work. Inside of here, I'm going to be building all of the ladders out of obsidian. All right, I'm going to use this new dev generator here. It's actually just a little clay coffee mug thing. Kind of cool. Really useful for kind of messing around here in debug mode. But essentially what I have going on here is I have a little bit of an outpost where we have oxygen that flows down to some Atmo suits here. We have a couple outhouses for 3 duplicants and whatnot, so they can go over here and they can actually run through the simulation of how we're actually going to dig into this area and how we're also going to take that magma and put it into our generators. All right, so now I need my dupes. Could you come on down here, please? All right, so there's 3 dupes right there. We're gonna go ahead and give them a good skill set for working in this environment. We will have to deal with super hard stuff, which is obsidian, so we need to make sure that we have that skill learned for these dupes. There's also a good chance that they end up getting a little bit crispy here, so I want to give them just a little bit of doctoring, if they can. There you go. We're going to be inside of exosuits this entire time, so let's go ahead and give them that training. And maybe a little bit of building as well. A little bit in strength would be also welcome, because we do have to move a lot of material. Oh wait, you know what else they need? They need electrical engineering, because they're going to be tuning up generators. There you go, dupes. Loads of skills. Jeez, look at this power system. Oh man, I've made some ridiculous things. All right, so I want to find the blueprint that I had last time here. Where are you? Aha, here it is. Okay, so here's my blueprint that we set up last time. I'm gonna go ahead and use that just a couple more times right there. That's looking pretty good. I'll connect this like so. And then I might make some tweaks here so that we can actually get to this from the right side, instead of coming all the way over here to the left side just to get to the power control station. But you know what? I can make all those tweaks while my dupes are digging down here. All right, so this is what I'm really curious about down here, is what does it take to actually dig into this area and make our way to the bottom of the map? All right, so from the looks of this, I think our best option here is to actually just dig right down here into this spot, and that's where we're going to build our very first Sweepy dock. So there we go. Now we've made it down to the magma. All right, what's up here? Why can't you dig that piece up? Uh-oh. Oh, is that a bit of neutronium? Oh, whoops. Well, we got rid of the neutronium. All right, so we built up our very first Sweepy dock down here. You can See that the magma's not flowing up above this, so that's good. But we do have a lot of magma over here to begin with. Whew. Oh, you know what I noticed? All right, so here's my first problem. This down here is really quite hot, and I'm pulling a vacuum in order to dig down into this area to get to the Sweepy dock. However, I kind of have a gas lock right here. Now, there were a good amount of questions asking about why I don't use a liquid lock in that area, and that's because when you run kind of a bottle of liquid through a body of liquid like that, it actually will transfer a good amount of energy, so you would end up with a much cooler magma by the time you get there. At least that's what I found in the past. So a gas lock actually kind of gets around that. But you know what? We still do have some sour gas there, so maybe that's just fine. Let's open it up and see what happens. So the liquid I want to have inside of here is going to be magma. We can go ahead and set that up. And if I take a look at my documentation here, that is less than 170. Less than 400 and greater than 25. Okay. And when I go to the automation overlay, you should be able to see that, yes, we can now see this text. That's pretty cool. And that's because I'm working with a new mod here, Better Automation Overlay. It adds little seconds and whatnot. So it makes that really easy for like taking screenshots and sharing your information. I love it. All right, so we're done with the liquid bridge. That's all plumbed up. Ooh, we are going to need some oxygen and whatnot inside of here. Oh, and that's right. I want to be able to get into this area from, yeah. So you can see the problem of having a vacuum over here. It actually just turned into steam and went right through the gas lock. Not what I wanted to have happen. All right, so we're just about ready to start this up. All I got to do is set this to above 170 degrees Celsius and it'll start to run here. However, I don't want this to start up right now because we're going to produce a ton of steam. And if we produce a ton of steam right now, it'll actually just push on over here and then end up over in this area, which is something I don't want. So let's go ahead and get rid of that vacuum. I guess we may not even need a vacuum area over here. We didn't need it in the last design, so let's not worry about it. Let's go ahead and release a little bit of oxygen over here to the left. Let's do this number. Let's go ahead and just put a gas vent right here and let a little oxygen flow in like that. Matter of fact, if you go to the oxygen overlay here, you can see what's happened. We have a little bit of sour gas right there, carbon dioxide below that, and then oxygen right above it. That didn't work. All right, let's try this. A little bit of oxygen flowing in here. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. That should be all we need to hold back whatever gas we have over here on the left. So let's go ahead and flip this to above 170 and start bringing in some magma. One of the comments you guys were talking about here was to actually use a little bit of chlorine to lower the heat transfer from the stuff that we have down here on the bottom. I think that's a good idea. So if we just take a little bit of chlorine gas, I think all we need is like, let's say 4 kilograms worth, and you drop that in there. That will kind of work as a thermal insulator between this area and everything else that we have above it. Because if you look at the gas, which is chlorine, it has thermal conductivity of 0.008. Carbon dioxide's a little bit more conductive at 0.015, but when you compare that to oxygen, which is at 0.024, well, you can see that, chlorine is indeed a little bit of an insulator there. All right, so one of my goals for this area here is to actually be able to get in there and get to the power control station from the right. So I think if we kick out these 2 tiles right there, replace that with an airlock, we should be able to get through. Ari, why are you stuck there? What's up with that? Ari, you should be able to get here. Okay, why can't a dupe move over here? What's up with that? All right, so let's speed this up just a little bit here and go ahead and throw in a steel fire pole right there. Very nice, looking good. Oh, you know what I'm seeing here? These dupes are not moving a lot of magma. They're only grabbing a little bit. 25.3 kilograms. Okay. Let's go to RA and give them +2 strength. See if they can move a little bit more material for us. Oh, you know what? Sweepy isn't loading the stuff in there because there's a little bit of steel. That's what's going on. All right, so look at the temperatures here. You see that we have this, it's really, really hot down there. But you know what? The heat really isn't moving up through this oxygen all that quickly. Yeah, so the big thing that I'm seeing here is that there's just not a lot of carbon dioxide and whatnot. So the amount of DTUs down there just really isn't a lot. I guess one other thing that I would take away from this is that it does make sense to actually go down here and make this stuff out of insulated material. Because that way the heat that's coming in from over here doesn't get past kind of our gas barrier by, the tile just being hot way up here. So if we replace this to an insulated tile, then we should be able to keep the heat out even more. All right, somehow we managed to mess up the Sweepy down here. So we're gonna deconstruct the poor guy and rebuild them. There we go. That looks like a full bottle. All right, so far this is actually working out pretty good. We got 4 steam turbines up and running, and we're able to get down here quite easily and pull a lot of magma out of the Sweepy dock without actually cooking our dupes, which is nice. But let's see if we can continue to dig down a little bit further, because the goal is to get down here all the way to the bottom so that we have so much magma that, I don't know, we can run 1,000 cycles or whatever without ever having to worry about it. You can see right down here, even though we've been running for several cycles now, I'm not even seeing this number change over here. It might take a while, but we should be able to actually dig down a little bit further here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this one tile here. I think we're gonna dig over here to the left like this. And I think once we do that, we can actually dig out this spot right here. Oop, I think our dupes got a little bit too hot there. Where are they getting hot from? Ooh, probably the stuff that we're sweeping up over here. Yeah, matter of fact, you can see that heat down there. So that's actually where that's coming from. So our dupes are getting cooked inside of their own little base rather than getting cooked over here on the left. Oops. Despite that, we actually have another spot where we can put another Sweepy over here. So let's go ahead and build that up. So now our dupes can come down here. Oop, there one stepped in a little bit of magma. Just have to be careful of that. All right, so this one is actually running on over here to pick up this magma. So it actually has access to a ton of magma. If we were to actually come on over here and dig this up, although that would be a really hot cycle for some dupe. All right, so out of curiosity, I'm going to add a couple more steam turbines on top of. Just go ahead and deconstruct some of this. Let the dupes build it up. Ooh, but you know what? We had a little sand drop down here and our poor Sweepy got stuck. Oh, that actually might be a problem. So yeah, as we're digging this out, every time we get to something like algae, it wants to drop down there to the bottom of this hole and then turn into dirt, which actually blocks our Sweepy. So that's something to keep in mind. You have to be careful when you're digging this thing out. Oh, man. I think a bunch of igneous actually melted right there. The stuff that we were digging up above it. So I guess the main problem I have now with something like this is what happens when we dig up something that falls down here and now it's super hot, but we don't want to actually pick it up and bring it inside of our base. Well, I guess what we need then is a couple of storage containers over here where we can just put whatever we want inside of there. We don't have to worry about the heat. That way we can get it out of here. So I'll set those to all and sweep only. I suppose another option would be to actually just allow manual use here. We could actually take the stuff out of here and throw it on this rail. Let's try that. So for this one I said, allow manual use, sweep only. And now I'm gonna try to sweep up all of this stuff. And there it goes, we have a bunch of random stuff on the rail. And you can see we're actually getting the heat out of it too. All right, cool. All right, so now I have 8 steam turbines running here. Sweepies are still doing a good job keeping up with the magma. Look at them go! We're actually starting to see some of this start to finally get sucked up though. I'm working on expanding this out even more. I figure why not? Let's give it a try here. Change that to a heavy watt joint up there. There you go. Plug in all of these steam turbines. Yeah! And there we have it. Dupes that can run in through here and keep going all the way over there to the left. And then if I take this pipe and I extend it like so and like so, connect that stuff, and let the water flow this way and back over here like that. Oops, like that. Ha! You know, it's really not too hard to actually expand this system out. All right, so that was pretty cool, but just how big can we go? At this point, I don't even know if we're really focusing on digging down here anymore. I suppose we are. Good job, Sweepies. Gosh, we're still sweeping this stuff up. Oh, you know what? I didn't extend that either. Hold up, let's add that to it. Conveyor bridge, this spaghetti, run it in there like that. Ha ha ha! Unlimited power, baby! Yeah! You know what we need? We need even more power. Yes. There we go. A little bit of magma there, a little magma there, a little magma there. All right. Oh, you know what I forgot down here? I forgot this thing. Wow, all right. All right, so get this. The thing that's actually holding up my system here is the fact that I can't ship out enough igneous rock. I'm gonna have to expand this if I want to get even more out of it. Maybe. No. This one's catching up, so maybe the others will catch up. Actually, no. Nope. Guess the next question is, how much can we handle with just one exit right here? All right, you know what? From the looks of it, 2 to 1 It actually works out here pretty. I think we might just have a backlog of material there that's looking to get out. Still, look, this is all the magma we've gone through. What? And look at how many generators we're running. All right, so now I'm just curious. Can we just get 3 to 1? Yeah, it does look like we can put all 4 into one single outlet there. All right, so that's fine. I would say, if anything, we're just having a hard time delivering enough to the bottle emptiers here. Okay, not that you would ever have 5 dupes doing this, but hey, mate, what's up, buddy? Why not? Let's give it a try. There you go. Good job. How much power are we generating? This has to be ridiculous. 7,300 kilojoules? Well, the dev generator is actually putting out, what, 60,000 kilojoules? So it's got me beat, but still. All right, let's face it. This little coffee mug right here is doing 100 kilowatts all day without any effort at all. But besides that, the steam turbines are doing 7,300 kilojoules. Let's go ahead and deconnect that. Let's go ahead and deconstruct that one real quick, and we'll connect the power as intended. Take all of this just to run, I don't know, a couple of Sweepy bots and some docks. Oh, that's what's going on. We don't have any gas inside of here, so that the cooling isn't really working out. These steam turbines are getting too hot. All right, so this ridiculous experiment or exercise, I'm not even sure what I'm gonna call it anymore. Yeah, it just keeps getting more ridiculous. Now, I'm compressing carbon dioxide over here to keep the dupes happy. Man, these little sweepy bots are going crazy down here, trying to sweep up as much as they can. Matter of fact, the dupes are keeping up with them now, so that's actually pretty good. And that's because these steam turbines are now overheating less. I think we need to add a couple of these real quick. Sure that those loops are nice and full. Oh yeah, see, now they're all running. No, bad dev generator. You keep throwing off my numbers. All right, so this is good. This is what I wanted to see. The sweepy docks are having a hard time keeping up with the dupes that are just keep pulling more and more magma out of them. So this means we can go ahead and start to dig down a little bit further. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. We're going to make the obsidian ladder down here. You do need to use obsidian, or otherwise it'll kind of melt on you, and that won't be good. Oh, that right there actually helped out quite a bit. Not only that, we can actually use ladders to walk on top of, keep our dupes out of the magma there. Now we should be able to go down here without actually cooking our dupes. So let's see if we can build a sweepy dock right down here. You know what? Let's just go for it. Let's build some mesh tiles right down here on the bottom. Woo! Crispy dupes! Okay, maybe not. Wow! Need more cots. Actually, can we just build cots right here? Of course we can. You just rest up real quick here and then get right back to work. You don't even need to come back into the base. Go for it, dupes. You got it. Now, I will say that I do have the mod that automatically sends them to the cots if they get too injured. You can imagine that helps. There's room for a lot of cots in here. Oh, this is perfect. Almost like I designed it that way. All right, so my real question is, once we go ahead and build up these sweepy docks down here, will my dupes take damage when they just come down here to actually pick up the magma out of the sweepy dock? Or can they get in and out of there fast enough to the point where they actually don't get injured? Well, that's what I'm curious about. I know if you're gonna come down here and stop and build, they're gonna get crispy real quick. Babe, you're so crispy, dude. Scalding. Everybody's scalding. This hasn't been good for our power production. 8,919 from steam turbines? What? All right. So you can see here, if you go a little bit too hard in the magma, your dupes will get crispy very, very fast. And unfortunately, that really hurts your production inside of your system here. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you imagine that, if you dunk your dupes in magma all the time, they're not all that productive. I know. What a lesson. But you know what? I think here's something that we can do to kind of... All right. Looks like my dupes were able to build up all of these sweepy docks. They need to be a high priority real quick just to get some material in them. Beep! Oh no, what are you supplying them with? Ah! That's molten lead. Don't make sweepies out of lead, dupes! Oh no! Alright, so now we should have all the sweepies that we need for, oh gosh, a long time. Once my dupes get back from being well done here. No, this sweepy is out of stuff to suck up. And my dupes are still getting crispy when they try to go down here to those docks. So, it doesn't look like we can actually just dig all the way to the bottom if we want to. It will actually hurt our dupes. You kind of have to take a phased approach and only dig down as far as you need. So it looks like in order to get this sweepy digging some stuff up again, all I'd have to do is dig this stuff out over here. So if we come on over here and dig that stuff up, maybe get rid of that, replace it with a tile. I would say the one thing that's still difficult here is that you can't clear the contents of a Sweepy dock. So, for example, I have sand, obsidian, and all this stuff, and it's kind of hard to get it out of here and put it into something like a storage bin in this really, really hot environment. I think it's almost easier just to deconstruct it, go down here, sweep everything up, and then rebuild the Sweepy dock. All right, let me just deconstruct all of this real quick here. Bye, Sweepies. I think the setup that I would do after this point, right here, after kind of clear that first area, it's going to look something like this. So you find a spot where you want to be, and then out of mesh tiles, you do this number. With a Sweepy dock there, and a Sweepy dock there, and then a mesh tile right in the middle, and then a ladder that moves down here like this. That seems like a pretty good approach. And then using something like ladders, we can kind of build over here to the left and right to make sure that we have a nice amount of clearance. So maybe the idea is to continue to extend these insulated tiles down as well, just to kind of control the gas down there. There you go. All right, so I noticed my dupes are starting to get a little bit crispy again. I think it has to do with my liquid lock. It's at 137 degrees Celsius. A little bit warm. That or every once in a while a dupe comes down here and just swims around in the magma for some odd reason. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Or somebody decides to handle steel at 90 degrees Celsius. Yeah, they're actually getting burnt while handling the steel, aren't they? They're actually not getting hurt over here at all. It's only once they get out of the atmo suits. Something in here is very hot. Well, it could be some igneous rock at 500 degrees inside of here. That might do it. Sweep level 9. Sweep only allow manual use. There you go. We'll get that heat back. Actually, we can apply that to all of them. Ooh, but now our shipping rail is completely backed up. Oh no, somebody dropped steam over here. That's not good. Oh, we must have dropped a little bit of ice down there. Ooh, well, that's gonna move some heat around. Can we plug the hole with a little bit of chlorine? Yeah, we kind of can. All right, that's a good. So how do you get yourself out of a problem like this? I think we can deconstruct these buildings, and then we'll throw in a pump down there. Ooh, but that's 300 degrees Celsius. Maybe you can build a high pressure gas vent right there. Plug that in and have it look for steam. It's going to be constantly damaged, but we can repair it fast enough. And at least at this point, we can pump that steam back into the room. And even if we pull a little bit of oxygen, we should be able to get that back up to its lock. It looks like the lock is holding anyhow, so that's good. All right, now I'm actually pulling carbon chlorine and whatnot into this room. Don't want all that in there. There, that should be enough. All right, so that actually worked out. That cleaned it out. Let's take a look at the power numbers here. 9,800. Whoa, 9,200. 7,000, 4,500, 4,600, 8,000, 9,000. Seems like this thing is capable of producing quite a lot of power. And that's just from 2 little Sweepy docks down here. So they may not move a lot of magma, but it just shows how much potential energy there is in all of this magma. It's absolutely huge. Alrighty, so I've been sucking magma out of the core for 100 cycles now. And what have I learned? Well, first and foremost, wow! Can we generate a lot of power from a little bit of magma? Not only that, it makes a ton of sense because our magma here is being handled as a liquid and then only turns into a solid over here. So we don't ever end up digging it up, so therefore we don't lose a lot of the mass. Because when you do dig something up, for example, this is 1,932 kilograms, you end up losing half of that mass. And because you lose half of that mass, you lose half of that energy. So as far as a method to actually suck up something like magma here, this is a really efficient way to do it. It's not the only way to do it. We can do this with pumps if we get really, really tricky, but you know what? The Sweepy bots, honestly, they aren't too hard to set up. And they actually provide more than enough magma for a reasonable amount of power. This over here is way more power than you probably need. Unless, of course, you have a ridiculous base, and at that point, I'm not sure why you're doing this, unless you're just having fun. But let's take a look at the power summary here over the last couple of cycles. If we look at the chart here, from cycle 74 and on, we're over 10,000 kilojoules, only ever dipping every now and then to right around 9,000 kilojoules. So that's a huge amount of power. And if we go to the amount of power wasted, which is the amount of power we haven't been able to find any use for in this situation, we find out that we're actually producing about 7,500 to 8,000 kilojoules, maybe even almost 9,000 kilojoules per cycle right there of net gain. So we do use anywhere from about 10% on the low end up to right around, it seems, maybe 20% on the high end. Just some rough numbers there, in order to keep this whole system up and running. So we've got different pumps that we're running here for the oxygen. We obviously have to provide some power for the Sweepy docks and all of the different shipping components. And the big ones here are the thermal aqua tuners in order to keep the steam turbines from getting too hot. But as far as getting a lot of that potential energy out of the bottom of your base and putting it to good use, yeah. This does work. And not only that, look at how much magma there is. So it looks like it'll last you a long time. Not only that, you wouldn't run these generators 100% of the time, all the time. You'd actually hook them up to automation and then only extract power out of your heat source when you need it for the rest of your base. So I can see you running off the core for a very long time. Now, as far as setting up something like this, what are the important things that I've learned here? First and foremost, we can't just dig down here to the bottom and put our Sweepy docks at the very base of the map. If we do something like that, your duplicants are going to get crispy every single time that they come down there to take something out of the docks, and you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is try to step this down, I don't know, every however many cycles it takes. But you will come down here and you're going to deconstruct this stuff every once in a while, like this, and then just move your docks down. I would say the other thing here is that you really don't need 2 Sweepy docks. For a reasonable amount of power, you can get away with just 1. And kind of just put it in a big pocket like this, and it'll run for a very, very long time. Especially if you can find a spot like this where there's a big overhead spot of magma, like we had right here at the very beginning. You'll definitely want to set up some sort of outpost like this. So a couple of Atmosuit docks, definitely. You're going to want to work in something like that. And then I went through a liquid lock here, and that actually worked out. I ended up cooling this because it did get a little bit hot after about 100 cycles or so, and that was causing a little bit of problems when the duplicants would go to jump out of their suits at the end of the cycle. Having gas inside of this tube really isn't a bad thing, although I would be really, really cautious as far as ever getting steam over here. So definitely make sure you have a little bit of oxygen or whatever gas you're going to use set up over here before you add water. Otherwise, that steam might get passed through your gas lock and start causing you problems. But the main thing here is that the carbon dioxide and chlorine actually work really quite well as an insulator, so long as it isn't a very high pressure thing. So you kind of want to keep that around 1 kilogram or 2, and then at that point it'll be just fine. So one way I'd keep the gas in control here. So one thing that seems to work well to keep the gas in control here is just to extend the insulated tiles down as you get closer and closer to the bottom of the core here. So at this point I might want to add maybe a little bit of chlorine. You can see I do still have a little bit of steam poking around in there. That actually came back in from here. So if you can avoid ever getting steam in here, that would be a good thing. All right, so taking a look at the generator room, I was pleasantly surprised on how easy it was to expand out here over to the left and add 3 more generators to this. That was pretty awesome. I don't think there's a lot of reason to go this huge, but still, so much power. So hopefully you find this inspirational, and I don't know, maybe you can come up with your own design that's maybe a little bit more efficient or whatever, or however it fits into your base. And adding a door over here actually kind of made the pathing work out a whole lot better. I would say the last thing here that was quite important was to be careful of how you're digging above this, because as material dropped down here on top of the Sweepy docks, that actually caused some problems. So keep that in mind if you are going to try to build something like this. And on one final note, the really, really hot stuff that we ended up digging here, like the obsidian and whatnot, that too can all be swept up and run through the conveyor loader here, and we can extract the heat out of that, which is pretty handy. So this whole setup here might even work well for regolith as well. So who knows? So there you have it. Yet another use for the Sweepy bots here. Pretty awesome. I like it. Thank you guys for watching. If this looks like the channel for you, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you have some ideas for me, go ahead and leave them down there in the comment section below. And as always, stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.